When I first started heading out into the wilderness a lot, one of my biggest concerns was getting lost. It was probably my second biggest concern. My first was bears, absolutely. But I realized pretty quickly how easy it is to get a little bit lost, and then from there to become a lot lost in a real hurry. Like if I was back on some trail or just off in the woods and I knew I needed to get, head northeast some direction, but I kicked that a little bit and maybe it was more northwest, maybe it was just generally north. If I went enough miles in that direction or started that way and then course corrected, but also shifted off even further, you could see how after a couple miles I could be way, way away from where I actually wanted to end up. And as we've been talking the last few weeks about our lives and what we build them on and feeding ourselves and choosing to follow Jesus, I hope one of the things you've picked up is that kind of our lives and this journey with Jesus is sort of one decision after another. Like it's just a long series of choices that set us on a path. And if we set off trying to get to one spot, but deviate a little bit and then deviate a little further and one choice after another, we kind of land somewhere wildly different than where we were hoping we'd end up. And students, what I want for your lives, what your coaches, your parents, what God wants for your life is for you to know Him, to walk with Him, and to let Him guide you to where you really hope you'd actually end up, a life of meaning and purpose, a life full of joy and peace. And kind of the only way to do that is to make the right choices in the right direction as you follow Jesus one day at a time.
Before a single pitch is thrown in a baseball game, countless decisions have already been made. The batter has already evaluated the pitcher. Is this a fastball thrower? Are they a little softer throwing? Maybe they have some stuff that breaks. Where are they lined up on the mound? The right, the left, the center? What's the defense doing? Are they playing way far back? Can I beat out a bunt? Are they on the right, the left? But there's also the defensive side, and they're thinking about the batter. Is this guy fast? Is he slow? Is he a power hitter? Does he pull the ball? How should we line up? If he puts the ball in play, where do I go? So many decisions have to be made before a single ball is thrown. And then after that, you line up and you do it all over again. Every single pitch has so many decisions that are associated with it. And most decisions too, they don't just affect one person. A batter that's not having the right approach at the plate, they could cost their team runs. The defense out of position, they might give up an error or even more runs. The truth is, decisions define you. Not just on the baseball field, decisions define you in life too. And for those of us who are following Jesus, your decisions are telling everybody around you who you are. Your decisions are shaping everything about you. And here's the other truth. Maybe it's even more important. Your decisions are showing everybody who Jesus is to you as well. You are going to get a chance to make countless decisions throughout your day, and certainly trillions of decisions throughout your life. What are those decisions going to be saying? I know that you're not going to get them all right. I don't. There are some times I have regrets about the decisions that I make, and I have to figure out how to do a better job the next time around, because the decisions that I make don't just affect me. They affect my family, my team at church. They affect my community. They affect my world around me. Same is true of you. But here's what we know about a Christ-centered difference maker. For certain, their decisions are going to be guided by Jesus. And even though they're not going to make every single decision right, they get the opportunity to show the world around them who Jesus is to them by the decisions that they're making constantly. Even when they fail, they're going to make it right. But hopefully over the course of time, your decisions will show people that not only are you a Christ-centered difference maker, but that Jesus is making a difference to you and he could make a difference to them as well. Your decisions are going to shape your life. They're going to matter a whole lot, not just to you, but to the people around you. So let me ask you this. What are your decisions saying about you right now? What do they say about the person that you are? What do they say about who Jesus is to you? More importantly, what do you want your decisions to be saying? Something for each of us to think about. Because as we continue on this path towards following Jesus, our decisions are shaping not just us, but they're shaping what people think about Jesus all around us all the time. What are your decisions saying about you?
Sometimes in our lives, it's not just our pastors, our parents, and our coaches that are teaching us about our faith, but it's also our friends. See, all of our friends believe in something. Now, whether what they believe in is really good for us or really bad for us, all of our friendships are persuading us in some way or another. Now, what this looks like is, some friends are going to persuade you to keep a certain status, act a certain way, look a certain way, hang out with a certain crowd. Other friends are going to persuade you to get involved in certain kinds of romantic relationships and how to act in those. What are you allowed to do in those? And sometimes other people are going to have you push certain people down the social ladder and other people's up. See, all of our friends have faith. It may not be faith that we think of traditionally, but it is a belief system, and everyone is acting out of what they believe. So when it comes to this challenge of figuring out how to feed ourselves, figuring out our own faith, how do we make our faith our own, it's important that we do question. It's okay to question what your parents have taught you, what your pastors have taught you, and what your coaches have taught you. When you start to question that, you really start to make your faith your own. You really start to decide what it is that you truly believe in. But we can't just let our friends off the hook. You see, we have to be able to question our own friends. Because our friends believe in certain things, and our friends are following in certain ways. And we can't just blindly accept what they say. Our friends, some of them, have made the decision to build their lives not on the firm foundation of Christ, but on a foundation that's like sand. That sand is going to get swept away, and they're going to get destroyed. And if you don't question what your friends believe, you're going to get swept away too. So, students, my question to you is, are you a follower or are you a leader? Do you lead in your faith with Christ, or do you just follow whatever someone tells you to believe? If we're not careful, if we don't question our friends, then what our parents have fed us and what other teachers and preachers have fed us, we're just switching out that plate for what our friends are feeding us. Are you a follower or are you a leader?
Students, I don't know where you're at right now with your faith, with Jesus. Maybe for a lot of you, there's probably already been a moment somewhere where you made a big decision to follow Jesus. You were at a camp, or it was just some night talking with your coach or your parents or a pastor, where suddenly everything kind of clicked and you're like, yes, I want to go all in with Jesus. Some of you have had that, some of you haven't. And whether you've made that decision before or not, a lot of you are probably in a place where you feel like, man, just the trajectory of your life, some of the choices you've made, where you sit right now, you feel like maybe God's just got to be kind of fed up. Like he's just kind of done with you. Maybe you made that decision and you felt a bunch of feelings, but man, where you are now, it's just, surely God's sick of it, right? Nothing could be farther from the truth. There is not a point you can get to where Jesus gives up on you, where he's just fed up, where he's done. And so no matter how many choices you feel like you've made to go away from God, every moment you're alive is a chance to turn that around, to course correct, to shift and to start to come back to God. And he is always just ready and waiting to meet you right there, to bring you back to himself. And I want to share with you one passage that just basically sums up everything we've been talking about the last few weeks. It's found in the book of Romans, chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. It says, "Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." Students, your life as a Jesus follower, as a Christ-centered difference maker, is basically all about just following Jesus and submitting everything you have to him, like that verse was talking about. And that while there are bumps along the way and there are storms that crash into your life and there are mistakes that will be made and times that you'll get off course, he never gives up on you. He never leaves you. He is always right there, ready to guide you on that next step. And so students, today, as you head to your groups, I want to challenge you to just be real, to open up a little bit about where you are right now in your relationship with Jesus, and talk openly with your coaches and with your teammates about what it would look like to take a step, even just one step, closer to God.